Mesdames, Messieurs, bonjour et merci d'être avec nous pour cette deuxième journée du rendez-vous de Casablanca de l'assurance. Donc je n'étais pas prévu de m'adresser à vous ce matin. Nous avions hier on a eu une très belle journée et puis une belle cérémonie d'ouverture. Vous le savez, nous avons la Tanzanie qui est l'invité d'honneur à cette 5e édition du rendez-vous de Casablanca de l'assurance. Depuis tout à l'heure, vous voyez un film défilé qui donne vraiment envie d'aller visiter ce beau pays. On l'a déjà annoncé hier, notre président, M. Mohamed Hassan Ben Salah et M. Kamanga, président de la fédération tanzanienne, sont signataires d'un MOU entre nos deux fédérations, MOU qui a été signé à l'occasion d'une des visites de Sa Majesté le Roi, que Dieu l'assiste, donc l'année dernière, dans une grande tournée africaine. Ce MOU a été signé et là nous approfondissons la coopération entre nos deux marchés. Donc nous allons leur donner la parole. Il devait s'adresser à nous hier lors de la cérémonie d'ouverture. Il a eu un problème au niveau de son vol, donc il va s'adresser à nous aujourd'hui. Mr. Kamanga, we are very happy to receive you here in Morocco, in Casablanca. We are very happy to receive you here in Morocco, in Casablanca, for this 5th edition of our annual meeting. So, the floor is yours. Je vous demande d'applaudir très fort Monsieur Sam Kamanga.
First, I'll start with my language, English. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Bonjour, mesdames, messieurs. Assalamu alaikum. As you have been introduced before, my name is Sam Kamanga. I'm the Managing Director with the National Insurance Corporation in Tanzania and also the President of Tanzania Association of Insurers. I won't take much time to talk about Tanzania because you've seen in the video, but I'll say a few words. First of all, are there any paramedics in the house? I arrived early in the morning, so if you see me falling asleep here, please come and rescue me. Yeah, Tanzania is a beautiful country with a 55 million population. In other words, we call it a land of Kilimanjaro, Serengeti, and Zanzibar. It's a beautiful country. We were honored to receive His Highness King Mohammed to our country. And during that time, we managed to sign a memorandum and some agreements as a country. Right now, Morocco is involved in Tanzania. Is helping the country to build a national stadium in Dodoma, the new capital. So we would like to see more and more Moroccan insurers are coming to Tanzania. You're welcome. In my association has 31 active members, and it's a small market in insurance. We are generating something like $350 million a year. So that shows there's a great opportunity to make that market grow, and you're very well welcomed. My company, National Insurance Corporation, currently is working on introducing agriculture insurance in Tanzania, and we're working very closely with Mamda Re and Mamda here in Morocco. So that's only part of the, wanted to show you how we are working together with Moroccan companies. I would like to see more and more involvement of Moroccans to Tanzania. As I said that I arrived in the morning, that was due to bad connection. I had to fly through Egypt to come to Morocco. But we are trying to see in the future if we can be able to fly direct from Dar es Salaam to Casablanca. Currently, coming to Morocco is very challenging. You have to go through a third country. It's either you go to Nairobi or you go through Egypt or you go through Doha. So it's a bit challenging. On the insurance industry, the industry started something like 57 years ago. But it didn't grow that much. Because when you say that, like my company is a national insurance corporation which is started 55 years ago, but it's not that big as what you can compare to other companies which have been started for that time. So there are lots of great opportunities for you to come to Tanzania and see that the two countries work together. Finally, I would like to say that I feel great honored for my country to be invited as special guest for this year's Moroccan Insurance Federation. Frankly speaking, it's a big thing. It's a big thing that cannot go unnoticed. We appreciate as a country. I appreciate as a president of Tanzanian Association of Insurers, and also someone who leads the industry. Frankly speaking, we would like to do the same to you in the near future. After saying that, I would like to say thank you so much. Thank you for welcoming Tanzania to this meeting. And I would like to say you are all welcome to Tanzania. In Swahili, we say karibuni wote. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. Salamu alaikum.
Thank you, Mr. President. We will work together with your team to increase our cooperation in the future. Inch'Allah. Inch'Allah. Donc, mon ami Christian PIEROTTI, donc de la Fédération française des assurances, prend le relais. Donc, c'est lui qui anime ce panel très relevé de ce matin.
Merci Bachir, merci, salam alaikum. Et je suis très heureux, c'est un grand honneur d'être ici. Je peux même plus compter les voyages que j'ai faits grâce à l'amitié qu'on a entre nos deux fédérations, qui est devenue une amitié aussi entre personnes. Et voilà, je suis chaque année plus impressionné de l'organisation, de la professionnalité de cet événement. Et je vais, si vous permettez, switcher en anglais pour introduire le premier panéliste, Dirk KEMPTHORNE. Dirk is the president of the American Association of Life Insurance. He is the president of the World Federation of Insurance. He has, after a very intense career in politics, become the president of both these federations. He was the governor of the state of Idaho. He was state secretary for internal affairs. So I would all invite you to have a warm welcome to Governor Dirk KEMPTHORNE, who will start his keynote speech. Governor.
Intelligence artificielle, blockchain, open data, insurtech, big data, Internet des objets, innovation, machine learning, chatbot, robot advisors, client-centrique, disruption.
President Bensala and Chairman Bubrick, Director Badao, Mr. Kamanga, President of the Tanzania Insurance Association. We're proud that your son is at the University of Toledo in Ohio. I can also tell you that my wife, Patricia, is president of the Twiga Foundation. She chose that word because apparently in Swahili, Twiga is the largest mammal with the largest heart, but also knows how to stick its neck out. And I think that's pretty good. To all of you wonderful people who are here today, what an impressive group of business leaders you are. I would say, merci beaucoup à vous tous. Merci beaucoup de m'avoir invité ici. Je crois que je suis avec des amis. To His Majesty, King Mohammed VI, a leader beloved by the people of Morocco, I thank His Majesty for the warm welcome which he provides for all of us. I will also note that when his father was king, Mohammed V, during World War II, he welcomed U.S. General George Patton to Morocco. And he asked General Patton, "General, what do you think of Morocco?" And General Patton said, "I love Morocco, Your Excellency. It is a combination of the Bible and Hollywood." This is my third visit. Every year I continue to admire the beauty of the country. Every year I'm continually impressed by the caliber of the individuals that have gathered here and the quality of the program that you have indeed put together. Mohammed, Bashir, you do a tremendous job, as well as your magnificent team. We're here to talk about the future of this industry in Africa and how the industry can prepare and manage risk as you become more available to people across this dynamic continent of Africa. What better place to have that discussion than here? A place that has contributed greatly to the development of math and probability and risk-taking. In the 12th century, Moroccan mathematician Abu Bakr al-Hassar wrote a book called The Complete Book on the Art of Numbers. He developed the math notation for fractions, the one that we still use today, because fractions are at the root of probability, which is the essential building block of insurance around the world. It's how we prepare. It's how we manage risk. Africa has recently become truly one of the great leaders bringing access to insurance to future generations. But your roots and your contributions to this industry are, without question, centuries strong. I want to thank my friends Tom Leonardi from AIG, Bernard Spitz from the French Federation for their contribution on yesterday's panel. I also want to recognize my colleagues, our moderator, Christian PIEROTTI, a dear friend, and Toyonari Sasaki of the Life Insurance Association of Japan, who will speak following me. Mr. Sasaki works with me and our gracious host, Bashir Badaw, on the Executive Committee on the Global Federation of Insurance Associations. I'm grateful for the contributions that these individuals make on behalf of insurance worldwide. A couple of weeks ago, I traveled to Las Vegas, Nevada. I delivered a speech to 600 representatives of the American Life and Reinsurance Association. And I told them that I would be coming to Casablanca to deliver this speech. And I said to those American leaders, quote, "The content of the Rendez-vous de Casablanca de la Science is incredible." And I said, listen to the topics that they'll cover: blockchain, insurtech, artificial intelligence. You see, you're leading the conversation on innovation and insurance. In this room are men and women of great vision, global leaders. You're assessing and understanding the future so that you can have a better idea on how to operate in the present and to help people. Las Vegas is a city that is surrounded by miles and miles of desert. It is similar to the deserts throughout the continent, the Sahara, Kalahari, Namib. The Nevada desert is full of typical shrubbery and Nevada's famous red mountains. It's quiet, with little activity, and certainly quite different than the main street of Las Vegas with all the casinos. And if you were to travel to that desert today, you'd see something else in the middle of this vast open land. You'd see a giant white tube. It's the site of Hyperloop One, a company testing Elon Musk's big idea to transport people and cargo in pods through an air tube at near supersonic speeds. You may know Elon Musk as the CEO of SpaceX and also as the developer of the electric vehicles. Elon Musk mentioned his idea for Hyperloop 5 years ago. It sparked a frenzy among innovators and startups. He described his idea as a cross between a French Concorde jet, a railgun, and an air hockey. He called on tech companies to make it happen. He had the idea. He said, make it happen. 5 years ago, it seemed like a distant dream. Now, Hyperloop One thinks it can launch its first commercial application just 3 years from now. They're in the middle of the quiet desert. They're achieving new possibilities. Just 2 weeks ago, this headline ran in the newspaper in Washington, D.C. D.C. has given Elon Musk a permit to do a little digging for the Hyperloop. Right now, if you travel by train between Washington, D.C. and New York City, it takes about 3.5 hours. If you had the Hyperloop, it would take you 30 minutes. You're building a similar modern world-class infrastructure here in Morocco. As many of us know, the ONCF will launch the LGV high-speed train next summer. The train will cut the journey between major city hubs by 2/3. With this train, the journey from Casablanca to Tangier will take only 2 hours compared to 5 hours. This is an incredible development for Africa. It'll boost your country's economy. And as the Hyperloop is demonstrating, you're achieving new possibilities. We truly are living in this galactic future that many of us dreamed about, maybe we've seen in the movies. Innovation is moving at a rapid speed. Here at this magnificent gathering, you've heard the word innovation. Yesterday you considered disruptive innovation, the convergence of insurance and banking. You discussed Africa's great potential for innovations. Today you'll have sessions on insurance innovation and big data. You'll discuss how startups are innovating and creating the insurance of tomorrow. It's a buzzword. I mean, we hear it everywhere. I'm going to offer you another phrase to keep in mind, and that is anticipating revolutionary change. That's what tomorrow's most successful companies are doing right now. They are anticipating that change. Consider the top-selling gadgets that we had just 8 to 10 years ago. You had the iPod Touch, the Kindle, the iPad, all fascinating devices. You tell it to do something, and they respond to your commands. The iPod Touch, you load your music, and then you tell it what song you want it to play. The Kindle, you load your book, and then you tell it when you want it to change pages. The iPad, you add your apps, and then you begin to search the internet. But consider the top-selling gadgets last year. The Amazon Echo, the Nest, the Fitbit, the iWatch. These are all devices that are taking in information about you. Without telling you, these devices are doing so. They are anticipating your lifestyle before you may even make the decision. They know what you want. The Nest thermostat learns your daily routine and adjusts your home's temperature accordingly. The Fitbit tracks your sleep patterns and your heart rate and suggests when you should go to bed and when you should get up, when you should go for a walk. The Amazon Echo improves every time you give it a command. You see, these are the tools of the future. And it's revolutionizing the way that we live because they are mimicking. They are demonstrating our habits and our expectations. Disruption is this new normal. Digital disruption is changing the ground rules for all of business. New technology is changing customer expectations. And new competition is changing the way that we think about competitors. A few years ago, Marriott probably would have said that Hilton Hotels was its biggest competitor. They had no category for Airbnb, which was founded just 10 years ago, and now offers more rooms worldwide than any hotel chain. Now the 103 Marriott hotels in Africa and the 29 Hilton hotels in Africa must compete with 100,000 new unique competitors who have listed their homes in Africa through Airbnb. There have been over 2 million arrivals in Africa through Airbnb in the past 5 years. Airbnb has revolutionized the way that we think about where we stay when we travel. The world of disruption moves at this enormously rapid speed. It may be difficult to believe disruption could affect all of us, certainly our industry. Our stability is a result of helping customers anticipate life's greatest challenges. Our products protect families over the long term. We are truly an institution of longevity, but we're not immune to change disruptions, you see. Is our institution equipped to move at the same speed as the disruptions are coming our direction? Will we be unsettled, disoriented by disruptive technology? Or are we expecting it? Are we in fact eager for it, finding new ways to bring time-tested products to more and more people? Are we compatible with this new age of technology? I would suggest that we are more relevant today than we have ever been in history. There are two trends that we as an industry must address right now to anticipate this revolutionary change of the future. The first trend is our increasingly connected global population. We can see that here in Africa more than any other place on this planet. You see, 20 years ago, only 1% of the people in Africa had a mobile phone. Today, more than 80% of the people of Africa have a mobile phone. This has revolutionized this continent. It's opening doors and changing the way that you do business. Suddenly, the people of Africa, from rural villages in Nigeria to the Maasai warrior to the business centers of Cape Town, they can communicate. They can communicate with the world. Peter Diamandis, the co-founder of the X Prize Foundation, put it this way, quote, "A Kenyan on a smartphone today has access to more immediate information than President Bill Clinton did when he was president of the United States in the 1990s. People in rural Africa do not have to be disconnected from a dignified life simply because of where they live." And now you've gathered to talk about artificial intelligence and InsurTech. Africa is a continent whose influence is rising so impressively. You embrace the idea of innovation and technology, and you're preparing for a new frontier. And why are you doing so? Because you must. Technology gives you an opportunity to leapfrog forward. Your economies are expanding rapidly. People are acquiring more personal savings to protect. You're beginning to build your infrastructure. Think of this irony. you're on the verge of unleashing significant infrastructure developments. And at the same time, many of the countries that put in infrastructure years ago have the challenge of trying to figure out how do we fix our aging infrastructures. The African insurance industry has discovered it can use technology to get previously uninsured individuals to choose insurance to protect their personal savings. You're creative in how you're doing it. I would suggest that you consider the InsurTech startup BIMA is offering accident life microinsurance to low-income consumers in Africa. Individuals without bank accounts might not otherwise have a way to easily pay for something like life insurance, but they do have access to prepaid mobile phone cards, and BIMA allows them to deduct premiums from their prepaid mobile phone cards to pay the insurance. The G20, which is an international forum for the governments of 20 major economies, has focused on Africa. The G20's compact with Africa was initiated when Germany held the G20 presidency just last year. It's absolutely increased the visibility of this continent to worldwide private sector. The program brings Africa closer to center stage and continues the autonomous leadership, the autonomous success that you're having in this great continent. Now that Argentina has the G20 presidency, all signs indicate that investments in Africa remain a priority initiative, especially when it comes to infrastructure development. As Africa becomes even more connected, the opportunities for our industry increase exponentially. Insurers have taken note of the way that technology can further expand access to insurance. In the area of property and casualty, some insurers are exploring the use of drones for claims processing. They use this technology to accelerate surveys of disaster areas. Take a look at this video of a drone surveying typhoon damage in the Philippines. A family who has lost their home to disaster can have their claims handled faster, and now it does not matter if the terrain is rough or the roads are not navigable. The customers receive payment faster so that they can get back to their pre-disaster lives. It also improves safety for claims adjusters. Employees can use a camera drone to reach areas that would otherwise be too dangerous to go on foot. In Rwanda, drones are being used to deliver blood from Kigali to rural hospitals.
Drones are placed on a catapult and launched into the air. The flight path is already saved, so no need for pilots here. Before, ambulances would drive all the way from the capital of Kigali to deliver blood. But drones make the trip in 30 minutes. There have been some 750 drone deliveries to 21 different hospitals in the area, like this hospital in Nyanza in the south. A nurse opens the box and finds blood platelets inside.
This gives you a sense of the possibilities that are taking place right now. Technology can revolutionize healthcare. It can also revolutionize search and rescue operations. It's saving lives. Take a look at this ambulance drone.
Now, so you can put down the phone.
Now please pick up the drone and bring it to your father. Okay, pull the green lid. Now place the pads on your father's chest. Good. I can see that the pads are properly applied. Joanna, please stay clear of your father. We'll take it from here.
Hi, I'm Alec Momon. I'm a graduate student at the TU Delft working on a project for Living Tomorrow and UZ Gent. Our vision is to improve current emergency infrastructure with a network of drones capable of saving lives. At over 100 kilometers per hour, these drones create an ultra-fast response system capable of increasing this survival chance from 8% to 80%. This is because the ambulance drone is not affected by current road infrastructure, but is capable of flying in a straight line.
And who's designing it? It's millennials, graduate students. This is their world, they understand it. It's the world that they've been born into. And how does it affect us? Well, think of that response time. Instead of 10 minutes, it's 1 minute. Or in many areas, in the rural areas, it may be minutes instead of hours. What does it do to the survival rate? Survival that goes from 8% to 80%. My goodness, what does that do to the mortality tables? Think of how this can be applied in any rural setting. And that's just one component of technology affecting this industry and this continent. Technology as a whole and globalization are making the insurance market more competitive. It's bringing our world closer together, making insurers, reinsurers more relevant. It's bringing economic growth. Mr. Kamanga, you said that you're now working to get agriculture insurance. That'd be significant. In my state of Idaho, it's critical. Even with all of the growth in technology, I encourage you to not lose sight of the individual worker. Big, bold, innovative ideas, they are important. They keep us all moving forward. Automation sometimes comes at the expense of human capital. I well remember as a university student taking an economics course that was entitled Small is Beautiful. In a rural area, is it best for automation to move a task from requiring 100 employees to only 10? If you do so, how do the other 90 feed their families? I well remember a few years ago a wonderful young man, a friend of the family. He came to me and he had been notified by the Peace Corps that he had been selected, if he so chose, to go to Ethiopia. And he came to me and he said, I want you to tell me what to do. And I said, the answer is already within you. And I simply asked him different questions that allowed him to think about his own values. The next morning, he sent me a beautiful message. I'm going to Ethiopia. While he was there, he led a project to build a school in a village. He employed so many of the local people of the village. They made bricks from mud, and brick by brick, they built that school. But Michael left shortly before the last brick was put in place. And when I asked him, why did you leave before the school was complete? He said, because I wanted to know, I wanted them to realize I did not build this school, they built the school. Last week I read an article in the Washington Times about how robots are being used to automate bricklaying. How would this have changed the experience of that village? Technology's real value comes from its ability to answer humanity's greatest needs. Technology need not replace workers. If we use it smartly, it can augment our capabilities, like what we see with the drones, so that a worker can continue to feed his or her family. A couple years ago, I had the conversation with Peter Diamandis, the creator of the X Prize, and I asked him, do you believe that the life insurance industry will have disruptors? And he said, you can count on it. Be ready. But really, isn't that part of our history? Over 300 years ago, in London, a coffee shop called Edward Lloyd's became a catalyst to pool resources for seagoing merchants. You see, they realized that one by one, if they were simply destroyed by those who stole a ship, they were finished. But if they pooled their resources so that if one was hit, there were resources to keep that person whole, it revolutionized the way that we think about pooling risk. Well, that Edward Lloyd's coffee shop in London was the birthplace of a name that we all know well, Lloyd's of London. And Inga, the CEO, was here yesterday talking about this. And remember her message, keep the customer at the heart of everything we do. Peter Diamandis also told me that he doesn't believe his two 7-year-old twin boys will ever need to learn how to drive a car. We must be ready to integrate disruptive technology in a way that preserves the best characteristics of our industry. That leads me to another trend that we need to address, which is longevity. Human life expectancy is expanding right before our eyes. Today, there are 1.2 billion people living on the continent of Africa. 1.2. Some reports say that there are 3/5 of the population are under the age of 25. And as young people have more access to medical care, global resources, they're going to live longer. As president of the Global Federation, I advocate for this industry. We coordinate with those G20 world leaders, and they regularly tell me that longevity is one of the greatest challenges that they have. The people in China say, if you think your Social Security system is thin, you cannot even imagine how thin ours is in China, as the elders in the rural areas are now coming to the cities because they're too old to work, but someone must take care of them. When America just had its major tax reform legislation, the leader in the United States Senate said to this industry, your best argument is, do not damage the solution to a pending retirement crisis. Do you see the role that we're playing? When you think about aging, I spoke with my friends from Japan. It's now suggested by the year 2050, there'll be 22 million fewer Japanese than today. 22 million fewer. Now that may be corrected through a birth rate, the efforts they're undertaking. But today in Japan, more adult diapers are sold than baby diapers. In America, 50% of the people who are now reaching age 65, 50% will also reach age 85. And yet, 36% of the families have no dedicated retirement. It's quite conceivable in my country that the American dream may not end as that positive dream that we once thought it was. People are living longer, but do they have the resources to sustain a meaningful life? Quantity of life and quality of life are not the same. This is where our industry can help. People around the world need access to insurance now more than ever. But this means our industry needs to be prepared to respond with new business models for technology solutions. Our industry faces some very unique challenges. Regulations create a challenge for companies to compete internationally. How do we harmonize regulations across borders? How do we adapt as technology continues to change so rapidly in our world? I believe that there are ways of doing insurance that we haven't even thought of yet, and there has to be, because that's the world that we live in. How do we build platforms that are less costly, reaching different demographics like rural Africa? I applaud you for holding this conference and discussing these ideas right out front. Earlier I mentioned Elon Musk and the Hyperloop. Last month I had the opportunity to drive a Tesla. You ever heard of that phenomenon called the Tesla grin? It's people's reaction when they finally get to drive a Tesla and they realize how fast it is and how absolutely quiet it is. Well, I had the Tesla grin. But it wasn't just the sleek design or even the speed of the Tesla that impressed me. Inside the Tesla is a very large touchscreen. There are no dials inside a Tesla car. Why is that? Because they want to push software updates to the car just like Apple pushes updates to our iPhone. That means the car is constantly improving without having to go through the hassle of trading in for a new car. That's pretty incredible on its own. But Tesla also told me this. There are features within the Tesla that are actually dormant. They're putting things in the car that are not working. Now, why are they doing that? The reason the features aren't activated is because the technology has not yet been perfected, but as soon as it is, it will be downloaded. So you see, as an innovative disruptor, Tesla isn't just creating a car for today. They want that car to be ready for tomorrow. They continually try to anticipate what the next disruption will be. And indeed, they're often the disruptor. They're preparing for a new future for this transportation industry. We can prepare for a new future for the insurance industry. But we must ask ourselves, is our industry building strong legacy, one that can adapt as new opportunities come online? We know technology is changing rapidly. We know there are new generations of people here in Africa who not only can use our products, but they need our products. We have the opportunity to answer one of the greatest global challenges, and that is the extension and the connectedness of the human life. Even the Tesla car has a life expectancy limit. And that is, right now, the battery bank on that car is about 10 years. Of course, the research and development team is trying to figure out how to extend that. But right now, 10 years. So what about the human body? We've read all the articles that are suggesting that a 150-year lifespan is now very realistic. Well, is that real science, or is that science fiction? Well, think of how many parts of the human body can be changed or modified, improved. Eyes, shoulders, the heart, hips, kidneys, knees. I'm just mentioning a few things. When you look at this image, you start to understand how a 150-year lifespan might be possible, because the 150-year-old person may not have all of his or her original parts. Are we ready? The table is set for the insurance industry. Generations of people are actually counting on us. From 2006 to 2009, I was honored to serve as Secretary of the Interior for President George W. Bush. President Bush was a true supporter, admirer of Africa. He and Laura had great affection for Africa. I led a U.S. delegation to a conference in Tanzania in 2008. At that conference, it was attended by the presidents of Tanzania, Sudan, Rwanda, Kenya, Mozambique. The previous year, I visited South Africa. I toured Robben Island, where Nelson Mandela had been imprisoned. After being unjustly incarcerated for 27 years, Mandela amazingly was not bitter when he got out of prison. He was benevolent. I think it's because he had a different perspective on freedom. He said true freedom is to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. I leave you with this thought. If I have worked hard to build a future for my family, but I lose it to some natural catastrophe, what freedom does my family have? If I've worked hard to build financial resources that can support my family for generations in the future, but I have now used up all those savings because I lived longer than I was expecting, what freedom does my family have? At its core, our industry is not just about protecting people's savings. It's about the basics of human freedom. For people to enjoy dignity, to age with honor, to pass on a legacy to their family. We have the industry that can enhance the freedom of others. I've said that after 23 years of public service, why did I join the life insurance industry? Because my motivation for serving people in public service was to help them. I don't know of an industry more positioned whose mission is not more straightforward than to help people. I spoke to my friend Tofik earlier today. He remembered a story I told you about a young man born in America whose parents were born in Rwanda. This young man is currently studying to become a doctor because in his heart he wants to help people. His name is Douglas Kempthorne. Why does he have my name? Why does he not have the traditional family Rwandan name? Because when I was a United States Senator, I was able to help get his mother out of Rwanda before the rest of her family was killed. And so when a few years later they're going to have a child, they wanted to honor me for that effort. And so they named their boy Douglas Kempthorne. I'm proud that he carries my name. I say this because we're all connected. Sometimes we're honored for the connection. Sometimes we're inspired by it. Sometimes we're challenged. Sometimes we stumble. But when we realize that we're all connected, whatever our place in life and wherever we may be, we understand how we can reach out and we can help someone. One person's stumble can be another person's opportunity to demonstrate hope and care. And isn't that what this industry is about? Our industry story is strong, it is reliable. It's one that has stood the test of time. And Africa is part of that legacy. In a rapidly changing world with so many possibilities, we can be confident of this. Our industry will change, and you will be some of the architects of that change to adapt and to be successful. Together we can progress. We can build a path that absolutely leads to greatness. And may our paths continue to cross. May they all lead to fulfilling the hope and the dreams of millions of other people. God bless you all for what you do, because yours is not a job. It is not an occupation. I believe yours is a calling to help other people. And that is noble. Thank you. Okay, thanks, Christian.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you for this fascinating presentation. You did us a tour around the world. You spoke about Elon Musk, who is trying to complete a fast travel facility here in Casablanca. We travel faster, so we go from the United States directly to Japan. If I may introduce you to Mr. Sasaki, Vice President of the Japanese Life Insurance Company, member of the board of the Global Federation of Insurance. After a brilliant career in the finance industry, Mr. Sasaki arrived at the Federation in 2016, but I would love to take him on the scene here. Please, Mr. Sasaki, come to deliver your speech. Thank you.
So, merci Christian de m'avoir présenté aussi gentiment. Je suis Toyonari Sasaki, le vice-président du LIAJ. Je suis très honoré d'être parmi vous aujourd'hui. Maintenant, je continue en anglais. Before speaking to you all, I would like to congratulate yesterday's successful first day of this conference under the patronage of His Majesty the King Muhammad VI. I want to thank President Muhammad Hassan bin Salah for organizing the conference and my friend from GFIA, Secretary General Bashir Badu, for inviting me. Japan is thousands of miles away from Morocco, but after I met Bashir in GFIA, our insurance industries have become much closer. Today, I will first introduce the unique features of the Japanese society, then the overview of current and future development of business, particularly from the angle of disruption. Starting with the historical background of Japan. Japan has long been isolated from the outside world by the sea, but at the same time, it was protected from foreign forces. The Japanese people took in foreign technologies into their traditional culture and evolved civilization without significant disruption. The year 2017 marked the 150th anniversary of the introduction of the current form of insurance, such as the use of actuarial values, which was imported from Western countries. The current concept of insurance gradually integrated with the ancient form of insurance, and in 150 years, rooted deeply into the Japanese society and grew into one of the largest markets in the world. In this picture, there is a skyscraper right next to a traditional Japanese architecture. This represents very well the harmony of the old and the new. This combination also means that the legacies cannot be fully abandoned. Benefits of legacy technologies are widely disseminated in society. In Japan, when a new technology is introduced, people have the tendency to preserve the benefits of legacy while taking in new benefits by combining both of them. For that reason, it often takes a long time to entirely replace legacies with new technologies. Here are some examples. The first example is the use of printed media. Japan is still halfway to a paperless society, and printed media are still relatively used today. According to statistics by a committee of BIS, the most familiar printed material, cash, is used in more than 70% of transactions, which is far higher than other countries. In terms of total issued banknotes, it reached around 90% of the nominal GDP, which is much higher compared to that of European countries and the US. Additionally, 391 copies of newspapers are bought per 1,000 adults, which means that almost every household is buying a newspaper. This is also much higher compared to other G7 countries. The second example is the use of digital tablets, namely smartphones. Surprisingly, they are still not widely used given the large size of the economy. The limited use of smartphones lies on the existence of flip phones with full-time internet access, which was invented in Japan. Such flip phones dominated the market for years since its invention, and today it is still used by 34% of the population. For the third example, I want to refer to preferred insurance distribution channels. It was already told in the late 1990s that the face-to-face channel, namely insurance sales force, will lose its share in the market as distribution via internet was expected to increase. However, a research in 2016 revealed the fact that only 2% of policyholders purchased life insurance through internet, and face-to-face channel still dominated the market. I believe there is still a barrier in people's mind towards innovative technologies, but the Japanese government places high expectations on such innovation as an accelerator for growth. In order to gain the people's support, it would be necessary for the government to induce the people into accepting something new. I believe that each life insurer will contribute greatly in terms of inducing the people's mind. Currently, life insurance sales force, which the majority are women, are able to make their customers aware of potential needs for insurance by talking about the importance and benefits of insurance through door-to-door sale. The strength of face-to-face channel lies in the skills of the salesperson reaching out to customers' mind. Even the highly advanced cutting-edge technology would probably not spread unless they are accompanied with such professional skills. Given the Japanese characteristics, I must admit that Japan is behind in the implementation of innovative technologies. Japanese life insurers have extensive skills in bringing out people's potential for insurance needs, but have not been able to use its strength in terms of innovation. That said, at the forefront of the life insurance business, they are moving proactively to make changes before being disrupted. So the next question would be, what is the situation on the Japanese life insurance industry? First of all, let me briefly talk about our government policy development, which has an influence over the business environment. The government is regulating the financial industry without interrupting momentum for innovation. In regards to the financial sector, they implemented deregulation last year for the banking sector to bring in IT technology innovation. Before, it was difficult to make equity investment from a strategic point of view unless startups with new technologies were able to demonstrate certain potential for growth. But now they are able to carry out forward-looking investments in a timely manner. Recently, we hear a lot about regulatory sandbox. The Prime Minister has committed to launch one for self-driving cars and drones by the end of 2018, and discussions have been going on since. The plan is to begin with the areas of mature technologies, then, in a few years' time, to wider areas including fintech. The regulatory development is still in its early stage, and it seems like the government is trying to share give it a try way of thinking. This give it a try way of thinking has been rare among the risk-sensitive financial sector, but it might be time for company executives to change their thought and adapt to the present environment. Next, I would like to talk to you about the trends in the life insurance industry. In Japan, innovation can be divided largely in two groups. One is a short-term approach focusing on day-to-day enhancement by integrating new technology into the current business model to improve efficiency and added value. The other is a medium and long-term approach which envisions a radical development such as the creation of new disruptive business model. Oh. In recent years, day-to-day enhancement, which can be achieved in a short time frame, are largely increasing. We can see many initiatives from life insurers, and they have a strong attitude to work on what they can do first. Here are some examples. One of the areas where we can see many initiatives is in back office reform. State-of-the-art technologies of artificial intelligence enables machines to recognize non-standard forms and context from a mix of information, which can replace manual work. The implementation of this technology, called robotic process automation, will not only improve efficiency, but will also have a greater implication for Japan, where there is a decrease in the labor force and aging population. What I mean by that is, in the wake of mass retirement of baby boomers, life insurers will confront difficulties to refill the workforce with people who have the expertise and experience to properly execute administrative tasks. RPA will enable them to refill manpower storage with machines. Another area where active initiatives can be seen in the strengthening of outreach is in the strengthening of outreach to customers. As I said previously, customers prefer face-to-face services which cannot be replaced easily by machines. That's why life insurers support their sales team by using big data analysis and AI to improve customer service quality. According to a big data analysis by one life insurer, when proposing a new insurance policy, it would be most successful if they do so 3 months after their regular visit. Some insurers have put in place an AI system which provides prospective answers to customer queries to assist call center staffs. Others have launched chatbot, which enables 24 hours access. These are some of the ways life insurers are using technology to enhance the outreach to customers and service quality. In regards to radical development in the medium and long run, typical initiatives include launch of labo and hackathon intended to draw attention from startups with innovative technologies and establish cooperation between related parties. Cooperation with startups doesn't necessarily take the form of M&A, but has similar factors. And Japanese companies have a particular culture aspect in regards to corporate culture, which will influence the success of innovation when performing trial and error development and creation of markets. For Japanese companies, it is told that persistent individual corporate culture impedes the integration of companies, resulting in M&A failure. Life insurers will have to think and prepare ways to work together despite the differences in corporate culture and to integrate them smoothly. New corporate culture is starting to be accepted in the area of IT system development. Generally, IT systems of the insurers are enormous and very complicated, which consumes time and requires a large amount of finance and human resources. On the other hand, recently, an approach called Agile is used for the implementation of IT development. Agile is based on a repetitive trial and error process within several weeks or months, which is significantly shorter than the conventional approach. Agile is one of the ways to mold corporate culture by referring to other sectors' advanced examples. This is a forward-looking approach for life insurers to work with startups. Acculturation of companies is also required in areas other than IT system development. In Japan, insurers traditionally prioritized to have all relevant functions within its corporate structure for risk management purposes. In order them to manage their business efficiently enough to survive in a global competition, it might be necessary for them to abandon the conventional mindset and consider concentrating business resources in its core strategic matters. Functions which could be done by third parties might have to be outsourced with proper risk management as an option. What is envisioned in the cooperation with startups is an establishment of a new ecosystem with life insurers playing a key role. For example, the large amount of information processed by life insurers and the nationwide network of sales force would be an asset to expand cooperation with other parties in various business sectors. This expanded circle of cooperation might give life insurers a new role as platform business providers. The area in focus where life insurers could play a key role is in the healthcare and wellness management. Japan is one of the leading countries for long life expectancy and high medical care expenditure. As the aging of the population increases, the negative impact of medical care expenditure to the government's finance is noticeable. It is natural that there would be focus on healthcare, or in another word, health promotion. Japanese life insurers have already developed and launched products that are feature aimed to encourage good health based on big data analysis. It started with products differentiated premium for smokers and non-smokers. Now there is a product that calculates premium based on a virtual age calculated by unique formula reflecting on the person's health condition. This type of product will allow an individual to be insured with a cheaper premium, since they would be evaluated to be younger than their actual age. This will incentivize people to work on maintaining good health. Another type of product has the feature to give individuals to pay greater attention to health through ancillary services. It provides better services to policyholders working on good health and raises awareness as well. It also provides medical care advice to policyholders with concerns about health by using results derived from big data analysis. Whatever insurers' initiatives are, the bottom line is that life insurers are contributing to solve social challenges by trying to reach out the customer's way of thinking. In Japan, as the average life expectancy is getting longer, the focus is now on the gap between the average life expectancy and health life expectancy, which is a period where a person can enjoy life without health issues. It is told that an average person will spend their last 10 years with health issues, which at the end will become a big liability to the individual and the entire society. Social welfare paid for medical and nursing care is steadily increasing. It is estimated to increase by 25% by 2025. While we see the downside of the current social welfare situation, people are trying to be healthy to improve their quality of life while decreasing medical fees. We can say that life insurers launched health promotional products in the right timing. Premium settings based on big data analysis allowed pricing to be based on the person's health condition. A decrease in premium would improve insurance coverage of the younger generation, which is not very high. In addition, big data analysis allowed better understanding of risks, which were difficult to assess, and enabled insurers to have a more lenient underwriting. We can say that new technology such as big data analysis contributes to better consumer access to insurance. All of the examples which I previously mentioned about technology in the insurance market have the possibility to change the consumer's point of view about insurers, which will lead to better loyalty to their carriers. When talking about big data accumulation and analysis, it is often criticized to have the risk to damage consumers' interest. But if consumers were able to experience the benefit linked to their own health, there would be a different perception. Maintaining consumer loyalty is crucial to succeed in the coming business using platforms and technology in the healthcare for the customer's interest will improve their trust to insurers. Before concluding my speech, I would like to talk a little bit about the future landscape apart from the life insurance business. Nowadays, electric car is flying to Mars, and as Einstein once said, future might not be as far as anticipated. Technology development is moving rapidly, and in the near future, innovative technology would be adopted in all sorts of areas. For instance, what would happen if an AI which was specified to a particular task becomes multifunctional and disseminates? There is an analysis that says multifunctional AI would not require human input while performing administrative tasks, which the majority would involve routine work. In regards to insurance, someday, some say there will be no demand for the face-to-face distribution channel provided by the sales agent. However, can an AI feel or assume emotions? If so, would people feel comfortable about it? What if medical technology grows and people can easily take a DNA test and know the types of disease they might get and when they are going to get it? Would the current insurance system still work? Lastly, if singularity becomes the norm of reality, what kind of society will we see in the future? Would there be any form of utopia? These questions will always come up. To conclude my speech, as you know, insurance is a tool that takes away the risks that people face in society and worries about the future. It provides a peace of mind to people by protecting them. The definition of peace of mind varies depending on the interests protected by insurance, but whatever form future society would take, as long as human exists, there must be an occasion where insurance would play an active role. With that said, regardless of the level of future disruption would be, I believe in the potential of this great insurance industry. Peace of mind should always be secured with insurance. And I'm looking forward to seeing future development. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sasaki. So we have started our journey this morning in Tanzania. We came to Morocco. We traveled via the United States to Japan. And slowly we will land in France. So I would like to ask Bernard Lebras, come to the scene. Bernard is president of... je switch en français. Il est président du Directoire de Suravenir et va nous parler un peu de l'assurance et du robo-advice. Bernard, je te laisse donner une petite présentation de ton groupe et puis on discutera. Tiens.